I only learned about the Diamond Sutra last year when Dale won the opportunity to select a sermon topic at the FUNraiser. I love that he chose the Diamond Sutra. Thank you. I must tell you that I am still only scratching the surface of the sutra, but I know there's something lovely at the core. The Diamond Sutra is the commonly used title for the Vajrakadika Prajnaparamita. It is most widely studied in the Zen tradition, and according to Buddhist monk and teacher Thich Nhat Hanh, the first word means the diamond that cuts through illusion, or affliction, or ignorance, or delusion. And the second can be translated as the understanding that brings us across the ocean of suffering to the other shore. He says, though we used diamond in the shorthand name, the important part is the cutting through. The sutra is, as you heard, in the form of a conversation between the Buddha and the monk Subhuti. It focuses on the practices of the bodhisattvas. Now, the word bodhisattva comes from the words for awake or enlightened, bodhi, and living being, or sattva. Bodhisattvas are individuals who vow to work for the complete enlightenment or liberation of all sentient beings by following certain practices like generosity, proper conduct, endurance or patience, diligence, contemplation, and wisdom or insight. The Diamond Sutra offers a teaching to meditate on or take refuge in for those on the path of the bodhisattva. Now, in the portion of the sutra that Maggie read, we learned two important things about the bodhisattva path. Or maybe I have learned them since I have done a lot of reading and research. Hearing them once, it is a little confusing, isn't it? But the first thing is that the bodhisattvas desire to bring all people to the shore of liberation. That is, although they are awakened themselves, rather than moving on to nirvana, they stay in this realm to help others on their own spiritual path to enlightenment or liberation from suffering. They know that there is no liberation as individuals. No one is liberated until everyone is. This sounds like the words of Lilla Watson about liberation from oppression. Many of you have heard this. If you have come here to help me, you are wasting your time. But if you have come because your liberation is bound up in mine, then let us work together. Residual from a cold that I had a month ago. The second teaching here is that the bodhisattvas practice non-discrimination toward all beings, meaning that they treat all creatures as deserving of liberation, whether they are people or tigers or plants or microbes. It's all the same. There is no hierarchy. In addition, fully awakened bodhisattvas see no difference between the self and the other. Thich Nhat Hanh says, there is no distinction between the one who saves and the living beings who are saved. Last week, I had the opportunity to sit on the beach in Santa Cruz, watching the waves tumble the shells and break and smooth the stones on the beach. As I sat there, I pondered the words of the Buddha, that there is no separation between what I call self and everything else. With my geological knowledge of the long, slow recycling of Earth's atoms from one form to another, I can sort of grasp the idea that everything is without separation from everything else. I have a hard time grasping the idea that there is no distinction between a person and a non-person. Still, my science background allows me to think of the ocean waves as not a single form, but water molecules, ions, sand grains, shell fragments, microscopic life and nutrients and waste products penetrated by sunlight. It's all of this. It functions as a transport mechanism, a home to abundant life, and a force for transformation, steadily grinding everything to sand and reshaping coastlines. It cradled my primordial ancestors and fed those I am descended from. So it is not one thing, ocean. It is many things all at once. It is me. I am trying to see people that way too. There's a story about a thief who breaks into a monk's dwelling to steal from him. The monk wakes up and startles the thief, who runs out into the snowy night. But the monk runs after him, calling for the thief to stop. And when he does, much to his surprise, the monk offers him his own coat. Incredulous, the robber says, "Why would you give me your coat?" The monk replies, "I saw that you had nothing to keep you warm. I have both a coat and a woolen blanket." "But you're a fool to give away your coat, leaving you with only a blanket." The man replied, reaching for the coat. "If I had 2 gloves on one hand and none on the other, would I be a fool not to put one of them on my bare hand?" said the monk. Our UU value of interdependence calls us to honor the great web of life and acknowledge our place in it. Yet this story suggests a deeper understanding of interdependence, the awareness that there is no separation between the monk and the thief, between you and me. Thich Nhat Hanh says, when our left hand is injured, our right hand takes care of it right away. It doesn't stop to say, "I am taking care of you. You are benefiting from my compassion." The right hand knows very well that the left hand is also the right hand. Even the Buddha enjoyed life in the moment. If we need rest, nourishment, fun in order to thrive, that's okay. I mean, that story in the Diamond Sutra begins with the Buddha eating a meal. So it's okay. The Diamond Sutra, the diamond that cuts through illusion, ultimately cuts through our reliance on what the Buddha refers to as signs or preconceived notions of things, so that we see not an image of the thing, but the thing itself. Everything is connected and nothing exists independently. Not a being or a thought or even a teaching of the Buddha. The sutra tells that bodhisattvas do not get caught up in ideas of a self, a person, a living being, or a lifespan. And they do not get caught up in the Dharma or teaching of the Buddha, because it too is only a pointer towards something beyond conceptual knowledge. I confess that this idea is elusive to me. I need much more time to meditate on it so that maybe it will seep in. This line of thought, though, does remind me of Unitarian minister Theodore Parker's treatise on the transient and the permanent in Christianity. In the treatise, Parker notes that doctrines and creeds and specific Christian practices are transient. They change over time. What is permanent is our own relationship to what he calls God, or what might be termed the divine, or even the emptiness of Buddhism. He writes, "The law of God does not demand all men to think alike, but to think uprightly and get as near as possible to the truth. Not all men to live alike, but to live wholly and get as near as possible to a life perfectly divine." Pardon the gendered language in that. Parker was writing in 1841. He might have written it differently if he were alive today. I was also reminded of a story I read 10 years ago about 9 cats on a quest who learned lessons about themselves, motivations, their virtues, their defense systems or mechanisms. They are joined on their quest by a dog named Scrunge, who seems to always be there when they need rescue or healing or encouragement on their journey of self-discovery. At one point, toward the end of the book, the author refers to him as a bodhisattva. And I think the description fits. We may not all be bodhisattvas in the Buddhist sense, but we can accompany others without attachment to the circumstances or the outcome, without judgment, and by extending loving grace to those who are trying to get free of their own illusions. We practice recognizing our interconnectedness with all beings and see each other as ourselves. And we can practice generosity from a place of recognizing that sense of oneness with all. Whatever our spiritual path is, may the diamond that cuts through illusion be a useful metaphor for you. Perhaps like Max in 99 in Get Smart, some of us will be saved by having that diamond handy when we need a breakthrough. May it be so.